Hi, so today I'm going to put up a video about Dal Chadi, get the child that the Dal leader. This is a Trinidadian. This happened in Trinidad. Um, there was up to date something on the newspaper, and I came across this name, so I decided to put it on my channel. So I'm gonna let this YouTuber explain who he is, Dal Chadi is, and then we're gonna take it from there.
England and the Caribbean. Subscribers, non-subscribers, people. Look at the screen in front of you. Taking you back to my stamping ground, Trinidad and Tobago. You have in front of you Mr. Dole Chadi. Him there on the right and him gang there on the left. It's stated that this guy was a notorious drug dealer, but never got caught with drugs. This guy, from what they say and what I see, the authorities couldn't wait to get rid of him. But they wanted a smoking gun, and they got the smoking gun. Let's move on. Well, the interesting thing about this case, Dole Chadi killed off an entire family of 4, and they got caught. I'm gonna get into all of that, but there was no motive behind what happened. The motive really surfaced like years later, after the case was finished, and it was very baffling. But I'm gonna take you through this equation, so just follow the equation. Now, Mr. Chadi, the man on the right, he did run a big time drug scene. And he might get mad things from Colombia and all over in the neighborhood, cause like I say, you know, so the neighborhood, them in a very nice neighborhood when it comes to certain things. You can go there with $500 and swim to Venezuela. And you know where they are, Venezuela. So he might run same thing, and the youth we name Hamilton Babu Al. Him thief some of the man things. Him thief the dual things. Now, word get around, and them find out say him do it. And the man them call him and say, yo, Hamilton Babu Al, bring back the food or the money. Him tell one of the man them say, Dole for F off, and if him not shut him out, him a come take away one of him picnic, kidnap one of him picnic. And when Babu Al do that, cause he was a member of the gang too. When he do that, that's when the man up on the right side, Chadi, Dole Chadi, snap. And let me tell you now, when him do when him snap. When the man do that, like me say, Dole Chadi get mad, and him round up him crew. See him crew there, on the left side, him round them up. Now, the youth in the middle right here, so, Joy Ramaya, him was a major hitman in the thing, you understand? So him dispatch to lead the man them upon the works, and them go upon our works. Them go down to Hamilton Baboual for him yard. And when them go in the yard, them take care of everybody when they dead. And I tell them about that. Stay tuned for the equation. The man them go up on the works. And when them go in there, them kill the mother and 2 kids. And when the father come home, he never know what go on. As he open him door, them dash him right in front. Right in front of him front door. Now, when that go down, Joey Ramaya, him come back and him tell the boss, say, everybody dead. But guess what? I lie, my tell. Somebody get away. The younger brother, Armando, and the sister get away because them did in the next one. After them do them thing with the family and thing, them get away for 4 months. And then, on the 5th month, something happened. This guy here is up on the left, Clint Huggins. He turned a rat and rat them out. And then all of them got arrested. All 9 of them got arrested and got locked up because of that. Now, this guy Clint, he was in the Federal Witness Protection Program in Trinidad. And they ended up killing him. They said Dole offer somebody $1 million for poisoning. That didn't work. And then him offer, him put another hit on him head for $3 million. And this guy, he was in the witness protection plan. Carnival Day, him decided to come out and go hang out over the same town where him come from and drink with the man there. And next thing you know, them find him the next day, stab up, shut up, all sort of thing happened to him, and burn up in a one car. That's what happened to him. So, this brother Dole, he never gave up until his last breath. I'm going to tell you what happened to him. May I wind up that case here, and may I tell you how them demise come. Remember now, Clint Huggins, the brother there on the left, and him wrap them out. Let's move on. So, Dole them get rid of Clint. But look on the screen on your left side. Right there so is another gang member named Levi Morris. And what he was charged with murder and a whole heap of crime, and he was sentenced. But he ended up became state witness, even though he was charged with murders and all sort of stuff. And he became state witness against Dole and the other 9 guys them. And he was put in jail, this guy Mr. Morris. But after that, he got a pardon by the government. He was put in the Trinidad Witness Protection Program. And he was in jail doing time. And then all of a sudden, he got his pardon and got a new name, new ID, new everything, and now he's living overseas with his family. That's what he got from the Trinidadian government to give evidence on Mr. Dole Chadi right there on the right. So Levi Morris, aka Levi Moses, was the one, along with the kids them, who put the final nail in Dole Chadi gang and Mr. Dole. Now, they were hung, the gang was found guilty, and all of them was hung in 1999. And after they got sentenced to death and they appealed it and everything, but it was denied. They were all hung down there in Port of Spain, Trinidad. And then after that, Trinidad suspended the death penalty, hanging. So that's the story of Dole Chadi and the Dole Chadi gang. His name rings.
Now, the child, recently, one of the newspaper put out about that child. Okay, I'm gonna show it. Hold up. This child here, they said they failed him. Armand Balou will be 40 years old soon, and those who know will always see him as a child. So let me put up another screen.
Osman Babulal will be 40 years old soon. Those who know will always see him as a child. He could have been saved. He deserved being saved. But we all failed him. This is how. Near the junction leading to the mud volcano and narco mansion of Piparo is the turnoff to Poron Street in the former sugarcane village of Williamsville. Here you will find the ruins of a burned-out house hidden behind the bushes. The property is fenced, with a no trespass sign warning property of the Sugar Industry Labor Welfare Committee. Not that anyone would ever want to squat or rebuild on that plot. This was a place of death. The neighbors are silent about what happened here. Go ask somebody else, they tell you. Some things are better left unspoken. Even after 28 years, small-time crook Levi Morris helped the Dole Chadi gang kill 4 people at that house in 1994. For turning state witness and ratting on his fellow murderers, Morris got his freedom for ensuring that his accomplices got the noose, a crude casket and an unmarked prison grave. For his help, Morris was rewarded with a new identity in a European capital. When the Express last heard about him, Morris had earned a diploma in business, was holding a good job and visiting Trinidad often to check out friends and family. The case also made millionaires of lawyers, made legends of politicians, fast-tracked promotions for police officers. But for others involved, nothing but eternal misery. Popo's life on the streets. Villager Chunul Popo, too, was a crucial witness for the state. He was a watchman nearby the night Morris and his accomplices came to Poron Avenue on Chadi's orders to kill everybody. Turbulent adolescence, Popo had courage in that courtroom in Chaguaramas to face down men like Chadi and psychopath Joey Ramia who tried everything, including killing star witness and crooked police officer Clint Huggins, in an all-or-nothing bid at freedom. Popo provided the prosecution with a timeline for the massacre and a description of the escaped car, which would later be found, traced to an owner, and crack the case. His reward from the state after the verdicts were handed down nothing, till the day he died. Popo never returned to Williamsville, fearing Chadi's sympathizers would kill him for having talked. Instead, he stayed for months outside the San Fernando police station where he felt he had a chance to avoid assassins, real or imagined. Popo's home for years was a cubbyhole under the front steps of the law office of former House Speaker Nizam Mohammed, across the road from the station. He did odd jobs for food, willing to tell anyone who cared to stop and listen to this limping, ragged, smelly man, about the promises the politicians made then to help him because he helped them. Popo died in the storm drain near the San Fernando General Hospital, living to see Chadi and the gang hang over the course of 3 days in 1999. Children hid in a bedroom. Osman Babulal also testified at the trial. He was a 13-year-old when they killed his mother Rukman, Father Deo, Sister Monica and Brother Hamilton. He was still a child when he testified about that night, of how he and younger sister Himati lived when everyone else died, hiding in a bedroom while his family died, the blood leaking through the floorboards of the house. Himati was taken in by aunt, survived a turbulent adolescence growing up in San Fernando. But she stayed in school, and with the help of 2 police officers who were part of the Babulal murder investigation. For Osman, his childhood ended that night. He was the 5th victim of the Chadi gang. When the killers came, the target was Osman's bigger brother, Hamilton Mice Babulal, who had dared steal drugs from Dole. But there could be no witnesses. So Mice, his sister and mother, would be executed in the living room, bullets to the head while they begged. The father, who walked into his yard during the massacre, was shot dead on the steps. Osman heard it all, what he saw after the killers left and before the neighbors and police came into the house, no child should ever witness. Blood everywhere. Theron Boudin was then a reporter with the Trinidad Guardian. He was the first of the house and captured the now infamous photograph of Osman and his sister cowering in a corner of a neighbor's home. Back then, crime scene investigations and a reporter's access were different. Boudin recalled the old man. He was downstairs on the step, lying there bleeding through the mouth, a wound to the back of the head. Upstairs on the couch were the bodies of the others. There was blood everywhere. Boudin found out that the surviving siblings were across the road. We were taken there. They were so scared, shaking. You could have seen terror in their faces. They told me that when the men came and started searching the house and asking for Hamilton, one of the gang members found them hiding in one of the rooms. And although he had instructions to kill everyone, he hid those children. Boudin said he never wrote about this in his reporting, but when the murder trial said Boudin. How we failed him. Osmond remained in the village and moved back into the death house before it was destroyed in an arson that remained unsolved. He became something of a freak show, looked a boy who family killed. Visited by media at massacre anniversaries for that always interesting "where are they now" story. This reporter was part of it. And when Chadi and his gang were hanged, Osmond, by then in his 20s and living alone in a shack on land his father once planted, was telling us that it did not matter. It would not bring back his family. The $171 a month being offered by Manohar Ramsaran's Social Development Ministry a joke, that he deserved millions for himself and his sister. Ramsaran replying then, buckle down and try to lead a productive life, and get vengeance out of your mind, and we are not in the business of making people rich. My ministry is to address the needs of people and assist as we can. The village tried to help. The vegetable stall vendor gave him a job. Residents helped him build on land half a mile from the family house that remained empty until the day someone burned it to the ground. Ramsaran never met Osmond, despite having to drive past that shack with then Attorney General Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj. On their way to Chadi's confiscated Piparo mansion, they turned into a drug rehab center. Neither did any of the other politicians, some of whom are still active, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley and Opposition Leader Kamla Prasad Basesar included. So Osmond was written off as the village outcast, a dangerous man/boy filled with rage, picking up conviction for beating an uncle, making threats, burglary and drug possession. He lost his vegetable stall job, began hanging with a bad crowd, and moved so far from normal people that he no longer acknowledged anyone during his trip to the standpipe water to take to his shack. Time rumbled on. In February 2010, the boy who saw 4 murdered was charged with trying to murder 2 schoolchildren, chopping a 15-year-old girl on the head, and a 14-year-old boy on ear. He was remanded to the prisoner section of the St. Anne's Hospital. Osmond was supposed to have a 2-week psychiatric evaluation. He stayed there for 4 months. Bail was set at $350,000, with an alternative that if someone could come up with $10,000 cash, he could be released pending his trial. That never happened. By then there were no relatives still in touch. In November 2011, he was committed to stand trial for the 2 attempted murder. That should he get bail, a condition was that he attend a psychiatric outpatient clinic. His lawyer asked the court to use its powers to impress upon the Director of Public Prosecutions to give the matter urgent attention and bring the case to trial, since Babulal was unlikely to make bail. And that was the last we heard of Osmond. Time tumbled on. And the Williamsville atrocity of 1994 was replaced by new ones, new bodies decomposing, burnt, bloodied men, women, children, photographed and recorded by whichever human vulture and police officer was first on the scene, then shared on social media and must-see crime drama TV in a country quick to be outraged, and quicker to forget. Tomorrow, what happened, Hemati? Is there still hope for Osmond? Read more.
Next article.
So basically, they were saying, they failed the child because he saw all the murders and the boy was failed, but Dal Chaddi, he died. He got shot by a rival gang called the Rasta gang, and even though this is around about the 90s time, there was a lot going on because that's when they had to ask Britain how to punish the peoples. So I saw this and I went and I looked it up and I found this story, and this is the story of Dal Chaddi and the young boy that 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 the government failed basically. So with that said, I'm gonna come off. I'm gonna leave it right here, and I will see you on another live. Thank you. Bye.